Welcome to Snooker's most mysterious phenomenon, the Crucible Curse. Since 1977, the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield has hosted Snooker's World Championship, and since then, a peculiar pattern has haunted its winners. No first-time champion at the Crucible has ever managed to defend their title the following year. From legends like John Spencer to current champions, the curse has left a trail of frustrated players and baffled fans. So, is this curse fact or fiction? Let's dive deep into the stories, the players, and the theories that make the Crucible Curse one of snooker's biggest mysteries. The story begins in 1977, the year the Crucible Theatre became home to snooker's World Championship. John Spencer, a snooker great, claimed victory that year, setting the stage for a bright future. But the following year, his dream of retaining the title unraveled. He was eliminated early, and with that, the so-called Crucible Curse was born. Year after year, new champions followed Spencer's fate. No matter how talented, each first-time champion who returned as defending champion failed to secure back-to-back titles. Take Terry Griffiths, the 1979 world champion, for example. Griffiths was riding high after his breakthrough victory, but in 1980, he was knocked out in the second round, despite entering with high expectations. The curse seemed to prey on his confidence, a story that would be repeated with other champions who came and went, all falling short of consecutive victories. Over the years, the Crucible Curse has spared no one, not even some of snooker's most beloved and skilled players. Jimmy White is perhaps the most infamous victim, though in a unique way. Known as the People's Champion, White reached the final at the Crucible 6 times during his career, but never managed to lift the trophy. His heartbreak in the finals, particularly his legendary 1994 defeat to Stephen Hendry, where he missed a crucial shot on the black ball, became an emblem of the Crucible's unforgiving nature. Though White never won the title, his repeated close calls left fans wondering if some invisible force was at work, keeping him from achieving his dream. Another example is Ken Doherty, who triumphed in 1997 only to find himself on the wrong side of the curse the very next year. When he returned as the defending champion, Doherty played brilliantly, but couldn't shake the pressure, ultimately losing to John Higgins. Doherty later reflected on the experience, noting how much harder it was to perform under the weight of expectation, as if the Crucible itself had turned against him. Many players and fans are convinced the Crucible Curse is real. Some snooker enthusiasts treat it almost as a supernatural phenomenon, a unique spell cast over the theater, affecting only those daring enough to defend a first-time title. Even seasoned players like Stephen Hendry and Ronnie O'Sullivan, who each broke countless records, fell victim to the curse when defending their first Crucible victories. Others dismiss the curse as nothing more than a coincidence. After all, snooker is an intensely competitive sport with many factors that could explain why first-time champions struggle to defend their titles. Players like Steve Davis, who won multiple world championships, point to the immense pressure of the event and the high level of competition rather than any supernatural force as the reason defending champions often fall short. Mark Williams, a 3-time world champion, laughed off the notion of a curse, attributing it to mental pressure and tougher competition in the second year. He argues that new champions often become the hunted the following year, with other players studying their styles closely. Williams believes it's this additional attention and scrutiny that makes defending a title so challenging at the Crucible. What if the Crucible Curse isn't supernatural at all? Some suggest it's the venue's unique atmosphere and intense pressure that make it incredibly hard for first-time champions to win consecutive titles. The Crucible Theatre has an intimate setting, seating only about 980 spectators, and the tables are closer to the audience than in most venues. The players feel the weight of every spectator's gaze, and the walls seem to close in, creating a cauldron of pressure. Stephen Hendry, one of the game's greatest players, has often remarked on how the Crucible affects players psychologically. For first-time champions returning to defend their title, the mental strain can be overwhelming. They enter the tournament with the added pressure of proving themselves all over again. The idea of the Crucible Curse itself only amplifies that anxiety. Players can't help but think of the fate that has befallen so many before them. Imagine stepping back into the same venue, facing the same table, but this time with the pressure of being the defending champion. The crowd's expectations are higher, the media is scrutinizing every move, and the looming legacy of the curse weighs heavily. Even the most mentally resilient players have admitted to feeling the strain. For some, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more they worry about the curse, the more likely they are to succumb to it. The Crucible Curse persists, even affecting modern champions. Shawn Murphy won his first title in 2005 but failed to reclaim it in 2006, echoing the struggles of champions past. Similarly, Stuart Bingham, after his stunning win in 2015, found himself under the curse's spell the following year when he lost his title in the first round to Ali Carter. One of the most remarkable attempts to defy the curse came from Mark Selby. Though Selby eventually won multiple titles, his first win in 2014 didn't translate to back-to-back victories. Like so many others, he struggled to adapt to the pressures of defending a title in snooker's most challenging venue. His story serves as a reminder that even today's champions aren't immune to the Crucible's mystique. But curses and psychological pressures aren't the only challenges facing the Crucible's future. The historic venue, which has become synonymous with snooker, now faces growing calls for modernization. Some have suggested moving the World Championship to a larger, more modern location that can accommodate more fans and provide better facilities. Others, including snooker legends and devoted fans, argue that the Crucible's intimate, intense atmosphere is essential to the tournament's character and shouldn't be changed. Players like Ronnie O'Sullivan have voiced their support for keeping the World Championship at the Crucible, citing its unique atmosphere and the legacy it brings to the sport. However, snooker executives face a difficult decision. Moving the tournament would mean leaving behind decades of history, yet staying could limit the sport's potential for growth. The fate of the Crucible is still uncertain, but one thing is clear. Whatever the decision, the Crucible Curse will remain an enduring part of snooker lore. The debate over this curse will continue as each new champion faces the challenge of returning to the game's most storied venue with the weight of history and perhaps a little superstition on their shoulders. So, is the Crucible Curse real? Whether you believe in curses or not, there's no denying that the Crucible presents an unparalleled challenge. Its intimate setting, combined with the weight of defending a title, creates a psychological storm that has overwhelmed champion after champion. Fact or fiction, the Crucible Curse remains a fascinating piece of snooker folklore, adding a layer of mystique to an already legendary venue. What do you think? Is the Crucible Curse real, or is it simply a case of intense pressure getting the best of players? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more snooker stories and mysteries.